one thing that I'm glad that he didn't trip up on, and Last of Us 2 did this. What's up, guys? We are Past the Pop Culture. My name is Ricky with my co-host here, Mr. Fenn.
Howdy.
Today, we're going to be talking about Monkey Man, giving a review. As always, we're going to go into a little bit of spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, we'll give you our little review right now. I give it like a good 8. I think shooting from the hip, I give it an 8. And that's pretty high for me. I really enjoyed the movie. I think it's worth your time to watch it. So if you haven't seen it yet, I say go watch it.
I can say go watch it as well because I also give it an 8. Like, you're going to have a good time. So go watch it and then come back and then you can hear our conversation.
Yes. And then, so hopefully, again, spoilers talk. So now we're going to start. So I think, first of all, to get it right out of the way, I think everyone's wondering the big question, like, is this John Wick? It's up to interpretation. Is it better than John Wick?
In some ways, yes.
In some ways, yes. I don't know how to word it. So, for me, I like John Wick. I mean, who doesn't like John Wick, right? Well, I know there's some people that don't like John Wick. They don't get it, and you're wrong.
Leave.
Yes. No. So, in terms of Monkey Man, right? It was Patel. He wrote it, directed, starred in it.
Yes.
Yeah, he did
like
everything. And it's really impressive. This was his directorial debut, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so I think hopefully I'm not giving him too much leniency. There's like one thing for me that I really didn't like too much in the movie, but I'll get into that really quick. The camera was like way too shaky at times, and it was hard to see the action. And I think he was using that because he knew that at certain times, it was just like the action was a little bit on the weaker side in terms of if you're comparing it directly to John Wick, where you can just see everything that's going on and it's super detailed.
Yep.
I think in that aspect, John Wick clearly wins. And I think that's really not debatable. I think John Wick, in terms of the action department, it clears. Yeah. One thing I did like that was kind of like over John Wick is that I think he played into his strength and was like, let's tell a story.
Yep.
And so I think I really enjoyed the story. And for me, I felt like, though, at some point, though, I was getting a little like anxious in terms of like, okay, but I want to see a little bit of the action, right? Because the trailer mainly shows off the action. And if you saw the trailer, you saw most of the action sequences, I would say. Not all of them, but you saw kind of like the big pieces to it, which is okay. But yeah, like there is a lot of action. There is a lot of story. I do feel like at sometimes in general, he goes a lot farther into the story than what John Wick ever does, right? Yeah. Like, and something, of course, that I thought was interesting is that they straight up was like, oh, this is the gun from John Wick. So it was clearly a nod to John Wick. And I know you kind of hated that.
I did, yeah. I mean, I see why they did it because I think, like you said, it's like, you have to kind of pay respect to John Wick because it's like a somewhat similar movie, Monkey
it
Man.
Is. People were like, oh, yeah, this is like...
Which I don't think they should even compare because that's not fair to Monkey Man. But, yeah, when they said, oh, yeah, it's the actual gun from John Wick, it's just like...
Yeah, like, I think he wrote the movie to be like a nod to it.
Yeah. And
he clearly is like, yes, this is inspired by John Wick. And I don't mind that. I think that's fine. I know you were turned off from it. I thought, okay, at least he like acknowledged it because I don't like it when I go to a movie and they're like, oh no, this is totally different, man. This is not inspired by anything.
Yeah, it's not John Wick, but
but yeah, I definitely, if you are looking for that John Wick, itch to scratch, I would say it scratches it. If you were looking for another John Wick, you're going to kind of sit there getting a little anxious. I was getting a little bit anxious. Like, okay, we're going through the story. And it's like, okay, I kind of want to see some action and stuff. But something that I think would be kind of like a better comparison, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I did talk about it before, was Daredevil, that him going through his arc of like, okay, I'm bad at fighting. Okay, I got better at fighting. And then it shows like the final fight kind of thing. It kind of was more in line with like what you would have seen like in Daredevil doing, which is, it's a good comparison.
Yeah.
It's a high praise, I guess, being compared to Daredevil. Like this first season was pretty fire.
Yeah, clarify it's a season, not the Ben Affleck movie.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think anyone's talking about that one,
Just in
but
case.
or the She-Hulk
jeez.
cameo. No, point being is that before we get to, you see, we want to use every episode to like
To the crap on Marvel.
yeah, so we want to do that, but no. Okay, we'll try not to. But I think this movie was a hit. I don't know how much money it made. I think you should watch it. It was really good. It was cool. It was interesting. They go into like the almost like mystical side, like I mentioned previously. I think that was better than just like trying to copy every story beat than John Wick, because it does. It, like I keep saying, it does harp on John Wick a lot and use that as its like framework. Yeah, like I said though, that shaky camera is what turned me off at some scenes. But there wasn't really like, they kept kind of teasing almost a romance between like him and that other like
like the escort or
yeah, like oh, he kind of like,
well
sorta,
that I didn't really understand. I missed it, but like you know how she had like the tattoo.
Yeah,
Is that
I didn't really understand that.
okay? So maybe it wasn't just me because they showed that girl and like for whatever reason that would like triggered pretty much all the events for him, and like he had like that PTSD moment, and like I don't maybe like it's a
remind him of his mom.
I don't know, or like, or maybe, or that's like a symbol and from his village or something. Like that was kind of weird. But
I didn't. It didn't make it abundantly clear, and maybe it's just because we're dumb or something. I don't know, but
maybe she was just cute or something.
Yeah, that's why like they kept hinting at it, kind of thing, and like maybe I'm kind of glad it didn't go down that route. I think that would have really stalled the movie.
Yeah,
and again, like the dog thing, I was kind of like, okay, like this is clearly. I think he was starting to borrow too much with like just straight up using like, hey, everyone likes dogs, right? So I'm gonna put dog in my own movie. And then so I think that was a little too much, and I kind of knock it for that. Where I mean, use a different animal or something, but
this is kind of what, because this was before like he lost, right? So like this is like I'm kind of thinking is like maybe there's two parts of the movie, right, where he gets his butt whooped, and that's where like they mention the John Wick gun, and then like they have the dog. So it's like maybe like this is like a huge stretch. Maybe they've seen the movie or whatever, and they're like, hey, maybe I can do what he did, and that's why like they have the dog, and he's like, all right, now I'm ready to fight, and he got his butt like absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
And then like after that is kind of where it departs from like how John Wick is, and so that's why I'm kind of thinking it's like maybe it was just like, let's just pretend to be John Wick. That didn't work out so well, so let's be Monkey Man.
Yeah, and I did like the whole kind of cultural like infusion that he did, and that's what really made it unique. Is that he brought his cultural background to it. He brought something that really in modern Hollywood isn't.
They don't do that like at all.
Shown. So because it was what's his name, Jordan Peele.
Yeah,
Jordan Peele brought it. And so it's apparently supposed to go just straight to Netflix, which I'm kind of glad it got a theatrical release.
It got bought out, yeah.
And I think he saw the potential in it, and it got released. And I was pretty happy with it. I really didn't know what to go in expecting. Everyone knew, okay, this is John Wick, and that's what they kind of sold it as. Like, hey, yeah, you guys remember John Wick? Yeah, we're gonna do that, but with our own little twist. But I think overall, it landed. I think because of the ending. It's kind of like, well, did he die? Did he not die? I enjoyed the ending. I think that was better to kind of leave it open-ended so that if he was to come back, because again, they've already kind of stepped into like this like mystical realm of things. So I can see him like just surviving based off of like, oh, you like, you can't die yet. Your job's not done or whatever it is, right? And then he's like, and then gets brought back to life or whatever it is, yada, yada. He lives. He can do something like that. Or like, it left it so it's like, okay, this can still be just a story closed. They can still probably do stuff in the same universe if they really wanted to. But I think, honestly, if they don't do anything else, I think it was still a slam dunk. If they want to keep doing something, they can. It's just, I would definitely, if they're going to keep continuing it, try to step away from John Wick more. And try to do their own thing.
Be more like Monkey Man,
yeah, like, because I really like the idea of the Monkey Man, right? Like, he is like this, power to the people, trying to look out for the little guy and giving power to powerless people kind of thing. And so I think that was an interesting aspect that, John Wick you know, I mean, John Wick just goes in and he's John Wick, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah. So it's like, I don't think you can even like copy that. And like I said, the film itself kind of acknowledged that by kind of just like, well, looks, make it kind of blurry. They tried doing some unique, like, I don't know how to word it. Like they like flip the camera and stuff. Like there, it was like you kind of rolled.
That's just basic like kung fu camera
But the
work.
thing is, it's like I found it too disorientating for what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think though, out of all its flaws, yes, the story isn't the tightest, right?
But it's like, you know, what kind of story are you expecting from an action thriller?
Yeah,
right?
and I think it was a good. I guess it hit all the story beats for me to care about this and him for him to win. Right, he wasn't this like, not. I mean, I wouldn't even say he was like overpowered or anything at the end, even because he still got hit, he still got hurt, and he probably
got
dead.
stabbed. Yeah.
And so, it's, I don't know, like, it's kind of one of those things. Like, do I want more of these movies though, in that kind of vein of like John Wick, or do you think that kind of starts taking away from what John Wick built?
I mean, see, it's hard to if you can do it as long as you're not mimicking, you know, like John Wick exactly. Like Nobody came out, and like that was John Wick-esque.
Yeah,
but it's like it's a whole different story, and it's like okay,
I was like John Wick, but as a father.
Yeah, and it's like an old guy, right? And then Monkey Man is like
midlife crisis.
Yeah, yeah. It's like everyone can relate to that, right?
Yeah.
Minus, you know, anyways. But like in the Monkey Man, like if they did want to make more, I don't even think they should, you know, try to be like John Wick, because that's what I was kind of praising Monkey Man about, is like I actually cared about the story, and it's like that, like I wanted to watch more just because like, oh man, this guy got his butt whooped, what's gonna happen next? And then in John Wick, it's like, you know, when you first see it, like his dog dies, and then like, but he's already at the top of the game, everybody knows him, everybody's scared of him, so there's like really no like super threat, and it's just like, okay, so now I'm just gonna see this like top of the line assassin just absolutely destroy everybody.
Yeah.
But in Monkey Man, it's like he has a redemption story, and like we see it all unfold, and at the very end, it's like he won, but he was still, you know, bleeding all over the place.
Yeah, and I think the best way to describe it, like the main difference between Monkey Man and John Wick, is that like Monkey Man had a story with fighting, and then like John Wick had fighting with the story. Like,
yeah,
so, like
story.
The story was mainly just to like move on to the next fight scene, to go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But that was really it. It wasn't a big deal. And like, again, John Wick, like you're not expecting it to like have a big story.
Exactly.
And I think that that's perfectly fine. I do think though that with Monkey Man, I do think that sometimes it took a little long to get where it needed to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not a bad thing. And I've already touched on like me being kind of like anxious for things, but like the first quarter or first half, it's a long time. Like I would see a lot of people using that as their big complaint, that it took a little too long to get going, because they do have like, okay, he fights at the beginning and then, you know, gets butt kicked, and then he fails trying to do the little assassination attempt and stuff like that. But he has his buddy, right? And I don't know, what did you think of the buddy? He wasn't bad. He wasn't great.
It was a weird choice, because they really like harped on him, and like, I guess maybe he's supposed to be the jokester of the movie, but like it kind of like with him, it just kind of fell through because like nothing really happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
outside of just being like a literal vehicle to like go to the next place or to get him in.
Yeah.
Like he only served as like a plot vehicle. Like,
and that was kind of weird, because it's like, well, why introduce him? Why make him seem important?
Yeah.
And then at the very end, it's like, oh no, he's just an accomplice. And then now
he's like, oh, sorry, dude, I'm leaving.
Yeah. And then that's it. And then it's like, well, why even bring him? That was, that was a little weird. I don't know.
But I think again, that's starting again to like, not necessarily nitpicking territory.
That's extremely nitpicking.
But it's starting to be like, okay, we're like picking out the story to really dissect it. But I think, again, most people are happy with this. I don't know what the reviews are on it, but it seems to be positive.
They're mostly positive.
The reception has been pretty positive to this. Yeah. And I don't know if this is going to necessarily like inspire or spur on more. It's definitely like when we talk about like the grand scheme of things, John Wick is of course going to win out again. Now the big question is for me, and I want to see. So, do you think John Wick or Monkey Man would win in a fight if they were to go at it hand to hand? Because that was the main thing. This fighting in the movie was mainly hand to hand.
That's true.
There was, they did use guns here and there, but it was mainly hand to hand.
I think John Wick would probably clear it, no? Like, cause
I want to say John Wick.
Because, like, I would, let's, use the cameras. We've seen John Wick, what he can do without the camera shaking, right? And, like, that guy fell down 40 stairs, and, he got back up and still
I don't think
won.
Monkey Man can fall down 40
Monkey
stairs.
Man, gets stabbed once, and he's already crying,
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless Monkey Man...
I guess they somehow dig into that more mysticism.
Yeah, like if he gets, like,
that.
some kind of power up or something.
Yeah.
Because I also didn't really understand why...
He took that flower or the...
Well, that,
dust,
and then,
or...
like... He sucked at fighting before, and then all of a sudden he's like so good that he can like.
Yeah, because he was just like punching to the beat of the drum, and I know
it's a cool training montage, but it's like, how does that make you all of a sudden be able to fight 6 people at once?
Yeah, that's why I say it's more like mystical, where it's like, oh, the drug gave you power and unlocked it for you. So
don't get any ideas, but yeah, I think John Wick would clear. Like,
yeah,
you would just point a gun.
Well, that's why I said hand to hand, because I think like in terms of like, I guess like gun wielding, gun slinging. Yeah, I think like John Wick would win. That's what I was saying. Like in hand to hand, it's one of those things. Well, I think in general though, like Monkey Man was a lot bloodier. I guess like there was a lot of blood.
Oh yeah. There was.
And there was a lot of nudity too. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that is a bit of a warning. They enter a.
I would not take your kids.
Yeah, they enter a red light district.
If you're like this far into the review, like you've seen it.
What do you do? No, I mean I'm fine with it, but that was kind of like in the left field. But it's like also the location is like, okay, I can kind of understand it, and they're already talking about like a tower full of escorts, so it's like, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't outside of the...
But they didn't have to do a whole fight scene when, there's people doing little hanky-panky. Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, I was like, oh,
different kind of beating, guys. Come on now. Like...
I'll walk out. But yeah.
Sorry.
So in terms of hand-to-hand combat, yeah, I do think John Wick would win.
Yeah.
The only thing, I feel like, because he's the Monkey Man and he had the mask on, but for the last final action sequence, he just took off the mask like right away. What did you think about that?
And yeah, I mean, this is really nitpicking, but like, why call it the Monkey Man when he
wears the mask like 3 times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, maybe it's because of the whole like character of it or whatever, but it's like, maybe you should wear it for like the important fights or like the symbolism of it,
maybe, Well, maybe he was going for something else where it's like, yes, like him when he's fighting in the ring like that, he's the Monkey Man kind of.
Well, because he cleaned it too, remember?
But yeah, he bleached it just for him, just to go, okay, he takes off the mask.
I completely forgot about that.
So,
he bleached it.
So I thought it was gonna have like more, like he was gonna go through the whole thing like that. I guess maybe it was just too uncomfortable to be in it to try to do the choreography. I have no idea why he made that decision, or maybe we're like missing out on something.
It could mean something. I don't know. Let us know down in the comments. Maybe we're missing something.
Maybe we missed it, because I just thought that was like a weird choice that you decided to go with at the end.
Yeah, I kind of overlooked that because I didn't really like that they did that.
Yeah, I mean, now I'm like thinking about it too much. Like,
okay, but again, it's nitpicking. It's a good movie. You're gonna see good fight scenes. It's like your typical action movie. It actually has a good story. It's like there's no reason you should not like it, unless if you don't like this movie, you're not gonna like John Wick.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Is that I think in a way the movie kind of played it safe. In general, it was. Yes, it tried going its own direction, doing its own thing, bringing its own culture in, and I enjoyed that. But again, at the end of the day, the movie was a lot on the safer side. But I am looking forward to any other action movies that Patel plans to put out.
He did good.
I think he did good. This is his first time doing this kind of thing, so I think he did a really good job. And
I mean, him going from a Wes Anderson film to this is like, okay, I trust. That's why I was excited to watch it.
How tall is he, dude? Because he was like towering over everybody.
I don't know. Because even in the Wes Anderson, I
know.
I was like, I wish I could look like that, even with the mask. But I don't know. But he's a good actor because he was like in Wes Anderson films. That's why I was excited because I was like, wait, this guy, he's doing an action movie, and I was like, count me in. So, but I'm glad because that's why that's why I think the story was good. It wasn't so like your typical. I mean, your super typical like, oh, I'm gonna win, because I like movies when
they get their butt kicked.
They
and
get
they
their
don't
butt
win
kicked.
right
Yeah,
away. And
yeah.
I think that's kind of a problem of a lot of modern movies is that like you have a character where they're flawless and they just do everything and they're just good.
Yeah, it's boring.
And there's no it's like he got his butt kicked. He's not a particularly good person, right? But and it is a revenge story.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is not like and one thing that I'm glad that he didn't trip up on, and Last of Us 2 did this, is the whole at the end of killing everybody, he's all like, it's not worth it. If I kill you, I'm just like as bad as you.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so glad, because that was the biggest pitfall that I was worrying about, is that
He changes his mind.
because like I don't like when movies do that. It's dumb. There's no moral, nothing that like can make up for it. Like, oh well, like it's, dude, you just murdered like a million people just to get
Quite
to this
literally,
point
actually.
to go, you know what? Yeah, those guys' lives were meaningless, but you, a main villain.
Yeah, like, never
man,
mind.
I guess like you're just
Oops,
a bad dude.
sorry.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't like that, and that was the biggest pitfall that I was waiting to see. The biggest mistake that he could have made when writing this movie. But I'm glad he avoided it, because that would have ruined the whole movie for me. Is that if he went and killed all those people and then did nothing, and it was just like, well, I guess, it's just So I'm glad, of course, because but John Wick never was really like. John Wick wasn't really like going to be a thing that like it was going to be able to like match up to. Monkey Man was never going to be able to match up to John Wick. I mean, so it's like it's more just like okay, we're making the comparison, but I wouldn't say it's in the same like field or realm. It is, but it's like I just think John Wick is better, but it's had like 4 movies.
It's had 4 movies. It's already fleshed out. You know where you're getting.
Yeah, so it's like, and it's a little bit different, and it's like because it came first, we have that bias on it. But let us know what you guys thought of Monkey Man. Did you like it? Did you not? What was something that you liked? What was something that you didn't like? What did you think about them kind of going more with like a story rather than necessarily just solely action?
Yeah.
Right. So if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you'd be very so kind, just to give us a follow on our social medias at Past Pop Culture on pretty much everything. And then check out the Twitch, twitch.tv/PastThePopCulture. Thanks for hanging out, guys. See you next episode.
Bye.